Hello and welcome to the Racetech V8 Supercar series live on Apex Racing TV. My name is Sam Fitzpatrick and alongside me for this evening's racing is Marco Barbanir, and we're here for the first time in this championship for many a season. It's Lime Rock, and Marco, it's the first time in this championship that we have visited this particular edition of Lime Rock Park. It's been available for a few months now, and it's a unique circuits undoubtedly, and I think this new chicane that they've added as well, and a few different corners as well with the banking has really improved this place over the years.
Well, hello everyone, hello Sam. I have been promised for many years by you that the Lime Rock rounds are always fantastic, are always great, and I'm expecting a great show today. We have some fantastic drivers and of course two reverse grid wheels to spin. So yeah, absolutely cannot wait to jump on the racetrack and see what we have in store for you watching us at home. This is going to be a fantastic event.
Absolutely. Well, we last visited this place mid-season in Season 4. And on that occasion, JP Boosterland managed to take a famous Race 2 victory. It was, I don't overestimate, I'm not exaggerating when I say it was one of the best sports events I've ever witnessed. JP Boosterland crossing the line to win, and that's the type of basis you can get around this place. This car, it's usually tricky to overtake with. It's going to be even more tricky to overtake today. So if anyone can muscle their way past, then well, that's going to be very impressive. But qualifying is going to be quite important. Just a little bit of a reminder of the format that we've got today. A little bit unusual to normally. We only have this format 3 times in this 11-round championship. We've got 3 rounds today, so 3 15-minute races. We'll have the first race, which will be relatively normal. Qualifying will set the grid order, then we will spin the reverse grid wheel or wheels, and that'll set the grid for race 2, and then we'll reverse the grid again for race 3 as well. So even if you have a bad race 1, as long as you stay within a couple of laps and make yourself eligible for the reverse grid later on, you can bring it back. We have got 1.5 more minutes of qualifying, and at the moment it is this man, Johnny Brandon, on pole position, who I don't believe was in the session until relatively recently. He joined though, Marco, and he's setting the pace right now.
Absolutely, but look at Jamie Jeffrey with a fantastic lap there. If this is a valid lap, he was setting purples all the way around, but I think unfortunately only good for 16th, so our timing tower got a little bit crazy there. We have some new liveries which are in the process of refreshing right now. I don't know why they're not showing, so we might see him with a new livery, because so far he's got a default livery. And look at that, George McClay also of course looking to it's such a wild card, this place, Sam, and you are absolutely right. He's going to be absolutely, the drive, as I always say, the drivers will have to try and do the best they can in the first race, because after that basically it's a toss-up. Everything can happen, and quite probably will.
Yeah, it's really going to mix up the order tape. Tricky starts as well, so perhaps could get involved in 1 or 2 incidents. It is just so narrow around this place. It's questionable really whether the V8 Supercars will go well around this place. I'm not sure how fun a combination is as the checker flag is out, but you can just see how kind of awkward it looks for many of these corners. It almost looks like you're running out of tarmac into every single corner, as George McClay, who is kind of leading the championship. Well, more on that in a bit. But he's stopped, and he is only going to be starting in 5th place at best. Currently, it is an XBR 124. What can Jamie Jeffrey do? That's 52.2. It's a decent time. Jeffrey with a rookie license. So doing very well out there, considering that. as the other drivers crossing the line. Chris Jackson can't improve. Johnny Brandon, pole position at the moment, looks like it's all his. Can he go even faster on this last time? No, he can't. A couple of tenths of a second slower, but it is still a pole position for Johnny Brandon. And he's the guy, Marco, third place in the championship, a long way off Foggy and McClay, who are pretty much tied for the championship lead at the moment. So if Brandon's got to come back, he's got to perform well today, and he's usually pretty good in these super sprint rounds.
Yes, absolutely. So, it's going to be absolutely. I mean, running to turn one is going to be crazy. Speaking of the running to turn one, I think we have the starting grid.
Yes, and it's Johnny Brandon on pole position with Nicole Foggy in second place. And it's Chris Jackson, Tony Klusterman, George McClay, Richard Warmingham, Jamie McKnight, Greg Carr, Wayne Sanderson, Jamie Wilson up in the top 10. That's Steve Lavelli, Tyler Newitt, Nikolai Bogotarev, Anthony Woodward, Lena Connor, Andrew Hoffman, Jamie Jeffrey, Michael Frost, and he was the last driver who set a lap time. Peter Bingham, Clyde Whiting, Bill Switzer, and Andrew Packer. Hopefully we'll see all those 22 drivers take the start in a bit. Yeah, Brandon from the pole position, just waiting for a couple more drivers to get onto the grid. There is a little bit of a joke, I think, amongst the drivers, how long Tony Klusterman always takes to get to the grid. He takes an absolute eternity, to say the least. And once again, I think he might hold this order a little bit longer. But so far this season, Marco, we've seen Brandon and Foggy be able to overtake one another in these races. Is there any chance of Foggy overtaking in this race one to take the race win?
Yes, why not? I mean, certainly if there's two drivers not shy of fighting with each other, is the XVR boys. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But here we go, time to go racing.
Yep, here we are then. So Brandon from the pole position, can he hold on to it going into turn one? We are away at Lime Rock Park for 15 minutes of racing. Brandon got a worse launch than Foggy, however, it's a long way round through that right-hander, and Brandon holds on to the lead. No changes at the moment within the top 8. Good start for Steve Bay, gaining 2 positions straight away to get up into the top 10 and a little bit more. Hoffman off on the inside of the track immediately. But apart from that, it is very good driving from the guys so far. Jackson failing to put too much pressure on the two XVR guys, and it was good driving all the way down the field as they enter this tricky right left into the chicane. However, everyone leaving their rivals a little bit of space.
Everything fine apart from a little bit of an off track from Andrew Hoffman, but apart from that, everyone is doing nicely as they had for the first corner. And here we go, 1 lap in the books. Again, 15 minutes, and it's going to be, I have to tell you, because as we have Carr and Lavelli exchanging positions, Sam, it is going to be some very high octane 50 minutes, even if you are not in traffic, which is going to be difficult not to be in traffic, as you can see right here. But this is a track that is absolutely relentless. You have zero time to relax around here, especially with this car. And even the straight, as we have looked at the argy-bargy here in the back between that's Woodward, Wilson, O'Connor. I mean, even in the straight, you are almost always thinking about how to approach that first corner and that very tricky braking area. Oh, Jackson has a big crash.
Oh, wow. From third position, and Jackson has dropped it coming out of the final corner, a mistake we see so often. And with these new tyre model as well, he's just tipped away onto the grass. It happens so often. Has he? Well, nearly replicated that famous Skip Barber off where he goes into the pit lane as we've got another driver very slow as well. Oh dear. Well, that was Whiting, and we've just had an incident between Frost, who made contact with Hoffman. Frost was on the inside, and Hoffman drops down the order, who I believe had already gone off the circuit at the first corner of the lap. Look at the gap that the two XVR guys have now ahead of Tony Klusterman. Good news for George McClay, who is very close to Klusterman. might have to go back to third position because McClay is drawing alongside and he's now drawing ahead of Tony Klusman. Runs it round the perimeter of the circuit, so much further to go because it's such a long turn one. However, you get the inside for turn two. McClay just needs to stick his car down the inside. Klusman knows that he's going to be in trouble and he cannot retaliate. Fortunate not to go off the circuit. He does retaliate in hindsight, and now Klusman hasn't got as good an exit. However, should have the best line into the chicane.
Oh
It's
no,
leaping
he's around!
wide as McClay goes wide, and he's going to lose 2 positions, even more positions than that. And the championship leader having an absolute mare in this race one.
Yeah, I mean, fantastic fight, a couple of hard but fair side-by-side moments, but then he clipped the grass, did McClay, just as he was entering this absolutely treacherous chicane.
Here
And
comes Foggy
look
down
at
the
Foggy.
inside of Granton, and he has taken the lead, has Nicole Foggy. That's quite a surprise, and that all seemed relatively simple. Got the cutback into the final corner and managed to outjag him into turn one. So it's Nicole Foggy who is your new race leader.
Let's get a replay once again of the mistake, which is... well, we saw it best from the chopper. You see, he got a little bit of a pendulum effect when he went into the braking area. Then he went too wide, clipped the grass, and that was all she wrote, unfortunately, for his chances at a race victory. As you can see, Jamie Wilson fighting it hard with Anthony Woodward as they are heading down the hill into the San Posi Straight here. Little bit of a foggy day in let's see, 84% humidity, so a little bit of a haze in the air, cloudy. So it looks like I mean, if you have cloudy or like overcast weather and a bit of fog, it looks like your average miserable British day, Sam, doesn't it, on iRacing?
It really does. This is glorious sunshine for us.
I mean, yeah, look at the fact that it's only cloudy and not overcast makes a massive difference, because you can actually see the sun peek through the clouds and gives a little bit less of a miserable... I love cloudy and foggy day, yeah? Here it was absolutely massively foggy this morning as Wilson was on the inside and gets the job done, and I found it absolutely lovely to see all the you know, the landscape completely filled in fog.
We have had quite a miserable day, it's so to say, in the UK today. Yeah, it's been quite rainy. We haven't had rain for like 10 days, I reckon. And today, just really just lousy weather, just sprinkling throughout the day. So, no, it is very much like this. Of course, this circuit situated in Connecticut. I believe it's only about 20 miles, or no, not 20 miles, but like 18 miles away from iRacing headquarters. Hence why it's quite a useful place for them to scout. Was one of the original tracks, I believe. All the way back in pretty much the first circuit that they ever modelled was this place for iRacing. So has got a lot of...
oh, look at the lap times. Brandon and Foggy, identical lap, 51.360. But Sam, you're absolutely right. This was when I was a young kid. I remember seeing these the preview videos for iRacing before it came out officially were the Skip Barber at Lime Rock. So yes, it was certainly, I think, the first car and the first track that were ever modeled by iRacing. As the fight continues, very hard here. And now a mystery for you. Anthony Woodward, on the inside of his car you see Ford Performance on the sun strip, but if you look on the outside it says Racetech. And it's black instead of blue. Look, black sun strip, Racetech. Blue sun strip, Ford Performance.
Huh.
Oh, some sun, beautiful.
He's trying to get back past Jamie Wilson right now. Wilson running wide. So far, I've seen a lot of side by side do this turn 1 and turn 2. Oh, that's wide for Woodward, and it's so scary around this circuit. Possibly more than any other circuit. Only Virginia I can think of where you got such a treacherous border. to the check, but if you dip a wheel onto the grass, you're going to have to elongate your route, your lap, by about 10 miles approximately. So you really don't want to run too wide and dip on a wheel onto the grass, like I say. And because around this part of the circuit, it's the one place where some barriers are pretty nearby, easy to hit them there. It's such a unique circuit, and it's fantastic to have it on iRacing. Jay McKnight having one of his better races this season, qualified in 7th. Was very accomplished driver in the AOSC Super Series, which will be back next Friday. By the way, so check that out. It's on the Esports Network, and it might be on Apex Racing TV as well. But I think puts a lot of effort into that. Maybe doesn't quite have the same amount of hours to put into this one because he is very competitive, but showing pretty well in 4th places. Wilson has managed to drop Woodward, and he's now concentrating on the drive ahead of Lane O'Connor. This for the last spot in the top 10, as Newitt is also catching up to Anthony Woodward as well. So there's plenty of battles going on as we're over halfway into this quarter of an hour race.
Yes, and the fight for the lead in the bronze class. Oh dear, the fight for the lead in the club championship.
At least that championship's over now, Marco. We're not going to have to commentate on it anymore.
Well, I'm very, very sad about that, but back to the action here. Greg Carr usually has, had a nice smooth ride at the front. Not today, because Steve Lavelli is fantastically close to the number 28. This could be a very interesting battle to follow all throughout the day, because if they stay like this, they are probably going to also start, like this, or very, very close to each other when the reverse grid comes. Speaking of reverse grids, Woodward has got an issue. He went wide. Here comes Newitt. But he doesn't have enough to go for the move, despite the mistake by the number 265 car. And that's... Oh, he's sliding again, is Woodward. He's all over the place right now. Probably compromised his tires just a bit. Still no way through for the XVR driver. See the number 265 of Woodward sliding all over the place, and now, just now, getting some breathing room. Let's see. His mistake. Went wide there, and he was very lucky, because usually with the new tires, if you go wide there, you very, very rarely go back on track before hitting the wall. And Jamie Jeffrey also had an issue. And here is what happened to him. Went wide in the first corner and lost a bunch of time. Backline.
And this is Wilson. Looks like he is going to get past O'Connor this time. And yep, passed into 10th place. So Wilson, who started in 10th, got a poor start. Has just been recovering ever since then, but back to where he started now. Out in the lead, by the way, 1.2 seconds between the two race leaders, Michael Foggy and Johnny Brandon. That last lap, Foggy was 9/100ths of a second faster. It's a very short circuit. We go to circuits elsewhere in this season, which are 3 times the length of this one. So Brandon in 2nd place, Klusman still in 3rd, and not under too much pressure from McKnight. And then it's Warmium, Carr, Lavelli, Stanson, Bogatyve, and then Jamie Wilson in 10th place. Good drive from Bogatyve at the moment. Started down in 13th place, but gained 4 places pretty much on the start. Having a little bit of a quiet 9th place run at the moment. Man, it's tricky in this situation, I guess, because lower down you finish, especially if you finish around this place, you're going to start higher up for race 2, so there's not that much motivation to make your way up.
Sorry, Sam, I would like to comment on that, but there is a fantastic smell coming from the kitchen. I don't know, sounds like some grilled meat or something, I don't know. And Woodward makes another mistake, but again, this time, Newitt is even further behind. Let's see if he made the same mistake as before. Yeah, doesn't like that corner. And neither do I.
It's better than the extra chicane, isn't it?
Yes, that is
I've tried
terrible.
that. That just doesn't feel like a corner. I
Doesn't
don't
it
know
have
how you.
a double apex, but it's like square on one side and like curved on the other. So it's
Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't be out of place in a Tilkedrom, in my opinion.
Now that is a criticism, if I've ever heard of one. But I think you're not far from the truth. Chris Jackson catching up to these guys, and George McClay as well. In that last lap, McClay and Jackson were 1.5 seconds faster than these couple of drivers. They want to recover as many places as they can. It's highly unlikely that Jackson and McClay won't be within the reverse grid. But I'm sure they'd quite like to gain these couple of places to score a few extra points. For each position that you gain 5 points. And that's pretty much all the way down the order. So first and second, 5 points separated. 12th and 13th, 5 points separated. I believe that is the system at least. Yeah, and 150 points for the race win as well. You get a few points as well for incidents and also some stewarding. I'm sure will go on as well in the background. So this is what happened to Richard Warmingham, and this is why Greg Carr is so close to him now. It's that same penultimate corner.
No one likes that corner, and neither do I.
Well,
Uh,
someone does.
Woodward
Austin Knight.
knew it. Austin Knight likes the extra chicane.
He loves it, apparently. And always knew he was a sociopath. Here comes Woodward having to defend from Newitt. He has got close to Woodward and then fallen back probably 3 or 4 times in this space, but now the gap has contracted, and Jackson and McClay have joined the party as well. Haven't got long to get this one done. The race leaders have just crossed the line, so they've only got this lap and one more to go. Jackson with a big slide. Oh, he's painfully slow, and I think he must have picked up a slowdown.
Yeah, let's see. Sorry to have cut away just as that was happening. Yeah. And the course strikes again because while we were watching the replay, knew it went past Woodward. Let's see what else can happen when we show a replay. Oh, he went wide again!
Oh dear. Out in the lead, Nicole Foggy is well on course for another race victory. Certainly the man with the momentum at the moment. As he comes around the final corner, it's going to be another race win for him. And Nicole Foggy for XVR Sim Racing wins race 1 at Lime Rock Park. Joey Ben makes it XVR 1-2, and Tony Klusman gets a podium in third. Jane McKnight and Richard Warren will be in fourth and fifth. What is going on with the Newitt Woodward battle? McClay closing in, but McClay lost so much time earlier on. He's not going to quite catch up to him. I'm sure he'd say one more lap and he would have had the pair of them. But he's going to be tantalizingly close. Newitt will earn a very good 12th place, and George McClay losing points to his championship rival Nicole Foggy. Fantastic shame for him. Bill Switzer looks like he will be finishing in 19th place, and Peter Bingham will be the last driver eligible for the reverse grid. Although Bingham has overtaken Jeffrey on the line, he must have run out of fuel, and Jeffrey will have to hope that we get a big reverse grid in order to start on pole.
Absolutely, as you can see, the race results have made their way to the screen without being asked. Let's try again.
Yes, and it is Nicole Foggy then, who wins out 2/10 of a second clear of Johnny Brandon. A little bit of a photo finish for those guys. Tony Klusman and Jamie McKnight never quit racing, finished in third fourth. They're looking pretty strong today at NQR. Richard Warmingham, strong fifth. Greg Carr wins out of the amateur drive, or the club drivers, apologies, in sixth. Then Steve Lavelli, club championship leader in seventh. There's Wayne Sanson, very quiet race for him, and Nikolai Bogatyr, but still good points there, not too far off the lead. Then there's Jamie Wilson, good drive through the order for Team Chimera. Then there's Lane O'Connor, Tyler Newitt, Anthony Woodward, George McClay after an early spin when fighting for the top 3. Chris Jackson, Clyde Whiting, Michael Frost, Bill Switzer, Jamie Jeffrey, and Andrew Hoffman retired from the race. Andrew Packett did not take the start. And so, Marco, we are spoilt. We don't get one reverse grid wheel, we get to have 2 spins at it, and it is a double wheel as well, so basically 4 spins. Save this.
Yes, let's go then. The reverse grid wheel should be on your screen right now. There it is. And let's roll it. Okay, it's a big one. It's 26 minus 3, so it's 23, which means that despite the last second pass, or maybe because of it, I should say, Jamie Jeffrey will be on pole position for race 2. Now, was he out of fuel? Was he trying to bet on a good reverse? Who knows?
Could we get the replay?
Of course, we can get a replay. It will cost you 5 quid, but
It might be worth it. This was nicknamed the Evdoka Buzan tactic when they famously stopped on the line basically at Sonoma a couple of scenes back. I can't see this one, Marco, so you'll have to talk us through it.
there it is.
Aha, now I can see it.
Was he saving fuel? I think he was running out of fuel.
I think he was. If he wasn't, then that was very
Great acting.
convincing, and he deserves not only the reverse grid pole but an Oscar as well. So he will be starting on pole position anyway. Peter Bingham starting alongside him on the front row of the grid. What can McClay do? What can Jackson do? Starting from the 3rd and 4th rows of the grid. We'll be back then for race 2 of the evening here in the Racetech V8 Supercar. So do not miss it. We'll be back in 15 minutes time. Welcome back to the Racetech V8 Supercar series live on Apex Racing TV. I'm Sam Fitzpatrick, and alongside me is Marco Barbier, and we're just prepping for this second race of the evening. Race 1, Marco, it went to Nico Foggy in the end. A early move on his teammate Johnny Brandon yielded him the race victory. However, big reverse grid, 20 cars reversed for this race 2. How would you evaluate their chances of getting anywhere near back up to the front?
Well, they're going to need some help, in my opinion. There are going to be some things to go wrong for the others to make them, go from back to front. Is there anyone on track right now? Because,
I'm not seeing anyone else on circuit, which is quite odd. There are still people in the session, however, so oh, no, everyone's quit from the session. Alrighty, so we will be back with you in a bit, because we are in the wrong session. And, see us back then in a couple of minutes. So, see you then. We'll be back, in 2 minutes time. welcome back once again to the Racetech V8 Supercar series live on Apex Racing TV. It's still me, still Sam Fitzpatrick, bringing you the coverage today alongside Marco Barbanera. And apologies for the slight issues we had beforehand going into the wrong session, but if anything, that reassures us more that this session will be even better set up and will be without a glitch, I am sure. Before Marco, I was talking about how Foggy and Brandon managed to pretty much dominate race 1. However, they're starting in 19th and 20th places for this race 2. How would you evaluate their chances of getting back to maybe even the podium places?
Again, I think that given the nature of the racetrack, and I know they are super quick, but there are two things to consider. First of all is that this is a track where, of course, the differences are a bit leveled because of the fact that it's a short racetrack. Difficult but not impossible, and you know, all these drivers know this track very well from the rookie series. And secondly, it's very difficult to pass. Third, we have a very short race, so I think they have an outside chance, but if you know, want to say, you know, they can win, they will need a bit of help from other drivers, you know, maybe some calamity which we don't hope for in the first corner or something like that. So let's see what happens as warm-up is over, and we are just about ready to give you the starting grid for this second of 3 races of the evening.
Yes, and after that big reverse grid, it was a full reverse grid from race 1, so everyone who was eligible, all 20 drivers, everyone pretty much apart from Andrew Hoffman, will be reversed. So that means that Jim Jeffrey will be on pole position after running out of fuel. He gets pole position though from all of that. Peter Bingham starts alongside on the front row of the grid. Then it's Bill Switzer, Michael Frost, Clyde Whiting, Chris Jackson and George McClay. Watch out for Jackson and McClay, probably the favourites for this race. Then it is Anthony Woodward, Tyler Newitt, Lane O'Connor, Jamie Wilson, Nikolai Bogotayev, Wayne Sanson, Steve Lavelli, Greg Carr, Richard Wormingham, Jamie McKnight, Tony Klusman, Johnny Brandon, Nicole Foggy, and Andrew Hoffman, rounding out the drivers for this race 2 of the day. As just a couple more seconds of gridding to be completed, and we are about to get underway. So it's Jamie Jeffrey then from the pole position, and we are away for race 2 at Lime Rock Park. Fantastic start for one of the drivers on the inside of the circuit, straight away gaining plenty of pace. I believe that was Clyde Whiting, who might be up into 2nd position straight away here. Jeffrey sprinting away from the front, but a spin for one of the drivers in the inside, and also a driver massively wide as well. So I've already got 5 drivers I see falling off the circuit.
Yeah, Lavelli has been involved in something. You see Jackson coming back on the track, but of course, oh, now he's sideways just in front of other competitor. That is Woodward, who I think collected Nicole Foggy. Okay. So that's an interesting start. And Michael Frost now, oh, hard into the wall after the uphill climb in the first lap. And so a very chaotic start to the race. Jamie Jeffrey still your leader. Clyde Whiting in 2nd. McClay with a great chance is sitting in 3rd place.
Yeah, so with Jackson out of it, as Sanderson is putting his car down the inside, I think that's Bogotayev. He's trying to get past, and Sanderson mussing his way past these 2 finish line astern in race 1. Sanderson just ahead, started behind for this race 2, but he's now got ahead. Here comes McKnight as well. Can he get past? Nice driving from McKnight. There is Foggy, who was involved in one of those incidents. It seems that it's deep on the brakes for Wilson. They're all covering off the inside line, just blocking one another from an overtake. And Clyde Whiting at the moment is really helping out Jamie Jeffrey out in the lead. The gap's up to 2.5 seconds at the moment, as I think Wilson is mega close to Whiting onto the pit straight. In fact, it's actually McClay who's a little bit closer. Slow exit though for Whiting. I don't know what's happened to him there. and he might lose 2 positions. Right here, McLay makes
big
contact.
hit.
McLay, can he stay on the circuit? He dips a wheel onto the grass and he drops a couple of places. And it looks as though this was going to be pretty comfortable for McLay. He was well on course for catching up to the race leader. It's just become a little bit more tricky for him because he's dropped down to 5th place as Whiting drops to 7th.
Oh. Absolutely chaotic start to the race, and now Jamie Wilson, who, if memory serves me right, has never won a race in this championship, has a fantastic chance. He's a fantastic driver, trying his hand with the V8s. And, you know, Jamie Jeffrey, of course, with the chance of a lifetime there. And look at this very angry pack trying to close the gap between themselves and the race leaders. Where is Nicole Foggy? He's sitting in 15th place, just had the fastest lap of the race the last time around. Let's see if he can repeat himself, meaning that his car will be certainly in a good shape. Yes, he is. So his car is okay. Brandon is in 12th place. Klusterman is in 11th. So Carr is still the leader of the club race. In 6th place, he gained 9 spots. So another example of how fantastically Greg is driving this season. Mostly staying out of trouble, keeping it clean, and that's made the difference. And of course, he's got fantastic pace as well, as Foggy goes past Bogatayrev and up into P14 on the start-finish line. Jamie Jeffrey 52.7, Jamie Wilson 51.6.
3 wide with Whiting and Sanson and McKnight. Here they are. Sanson squeezes down the middle. McKnight was deep on the inside. Sanson skids off the circuit. And that is who is barging through all of them. Kloosterman gets to the front of this pack. Or can he? Warmingham, I think, sorry, was getting to the front of the pack. And now McKnight is holding off Kloosterman, who has got Brandon, who is lacking a bonnet. McClay is clumsily over the curves. What's happened with him and Newitt? Newitt will get a big slowdown. Don't think he'll drop any more places for Newitt. I think he'll stay in 4th place. But McClay has somehow got himself up into 3rd place. However, I'm not sure if it was the cleanest move we'll see all day.
As you can see, you were pointing it out, Sam. Johnny Brandon's car with some extra, you know, weight reduction to get the best cooling possible. Battle for the lead eating up. No pun intended, of course. I'm on a roll today, with these pants. As Wilson moves past Newitt. Newitt very smartly doesn't put up too much of a fight. Jumps up into the lead.
I don't want to be harsh. I don't understand that pun. What's the pun? Heating up.
Yeah, I was talking about how Brandon is using a technical solution to have better engine cooling.
Okay, right. Fair enough. No, congrats.
It's
Oh dear. By the way, I mean, don't tune into Sim Racers World tonight if you're not enjoying this fantastic banter that is
oh dear, tomorrow. Yes, you are right.
No, yeah. I've got to do Aussie Mix and Fix and ARL GT besides that, but I'm sure I'll barely make it. I'll be a different man, I think, after the Sim Racers World.
I haven't heard of anyone coming in to commentate with us, so prepare your, you know,
Dear me.
your boxing gloves because it's going to be a good one.
So O'Connor is fending off Cart. Ooh, as Bingham has got involved in something with Woodward. Woodward would have been in a pretty good position earlier on to benefit from this, but he's just had an awful race, and that's not helping matters either. Sliding off the track. McClay, how far is McClay off the lead? McClay is 4 seconds off the lead at the moment. And he's onto the back of Jeffrey. He's not even 4 seconds off the lead, apologies, 2 seconds off the lead. So if he can get past Jeffrey, then he'll be onto the Wilson face soon. Jeffrey seemed to let past Wilson earlier on. I imagine if he's got too much knowledge of the space, he'll realise that McClay is probably even faster going for the championship. And so I'm half surprised he hasn't already lets him pass Newitt. Is a further 2 seconds back. The next kind of front runner is McKnight in 8th, and then Brandon, who's got past Klosterman for 9th place. So McClay's got a bit of time. Here he comes, and Newitt does. Oh, sorry, Jeffrey does lets him pass, lifts off down straight, and on lap 9, George McClay is up into 2nd place. He has got 8 minutes to catch and pass Jamie Wilson for the win. Lane O'Connor is at the head of this next train. It's not too much of a train at the moment, to be fair, so Foggy just gets past Lavelli. Everyone's pretty close though. Next up for Foggy is actually Klosterman. So he's made some good progress actually, has the Scotsman. On that last lap was 2 seconds faster than Klosterman. This, the shortest circuit of the season, as well as... Is that an overtake or just a back marker? Yeah, that was O'Connor running wide. He was in 5th place. Misses the chicane, and he has dropped to 7th now.
I have nothing on my event viewer in terms of overtakes, but I can tell you that Tony Klosterman is disappearing from our screens.
Aha.
Oh,
there he is.
Oh, I'm afraid he's got, he's got, in the past he's had some freezes with the VR that he uses, and when you disappear and then reappear, but you are like off the track or, in the wall, usually it means that you've had an issue with your hardware. Unfortunately, Tony, after a beautiful race 1, is struggling with his hardware or connection, and now he has stowed back to the pits. Oh, sorry to jump away from this, as Carr and Wormingham are going at it, as McClay is still in 2nd, Jeffrey is in 3rd, so this is the fight for 5th place right now. Tyler Newitt is in front of them, as everyone is a bit more calm and relaxed now that the positions have been, I would say, sorted out, at least after the initial chaos. Well, it took more than half of the race to get to this point, but it is what you expect in a super sprint event, as we are seeing that let's take a look at the gap while we are at it. And as you can see, McClay is gaining a bit, but not a lot, and this he needs more basically.
Brandon has got past McKnight for 7th place. I think that was down at the chicane. And next up on the list will be Foggy, with Klosterman, of course, retiring. Foggy glances to the inside, but it's not much of a braking area this turn 1, even in these very poor braking cars. You can maybe go for a surprise move into 2, but you really got to catch your opponent unawares. I think these cars, they don't get far enough to the right anyway to really open up that line. This is where Brandon got past on the last lap. Can't quite plant the power, can Foggy. And he doesn't feel confident enough to go for the lunge into the chicane. They are catching up this whole field to the back of Wormingham, who has got past Carr. There he goes past Carr. Took him a little while. That is positive news for Richard Wormingham. He's got 3 seconds to catch up to Tyler Newitt now, as Carr straight away loses a couple of car lengths to his rival.
Comes Foggy. He will pull to the inside. Is McKnight going to comply? The answer is no, and he's defending nicely. Not the most aggressive of moves from the 66 there, the one-time champion. One-time Le Champion, sorry. But yeah, he cannot make the move, and Johnny Brandon, surprisingly, I mean, one thing that has been that has remained from the past iteration of the V8 Supercars on iRacing is that if you don't have a bonnet, usually you don't suffer too much, and same goes for the missing of the rear wing. Here comes Foggy again. This time seems to be a good chance. Is to keep it on the inside. Beautiful tight line from Nicole Foggy. Then he moves in front of McKnight. Will he respond? The answer is no. And oh, Jeffrey sideways And this is a great invitation for Newey to get a podium. Let's keep an eye on this as well. Great save by Jeffrey there in the, I mean, could have been a lot worse, but now under renewed pressure from the 77. Let's see how.
Oh, he's wide again. And has Jeffrey stayed ahead? I believe he has. That was the mistake. About the chicane as well. He was mega wide, and this has just cost them so much time. I expect them to be setting 53s when they're setting mid 52s earlier on in the race. I'm looking like an easy third and fourth for these guys. Looks as though now, with a Warmingham car, Brandon Foggy all catching up. Only 3.5 seconds back to McKnight at the moment. In 9th place. It would be a phenomenal result for the rookie driver of Jamie Jeffrey if he could hold on to this 3rd place. But now they are queuing up and he's becoming more and more defensive. Is Jeffrey, who so far hasn't defended against the 2 drivers who have passed him. I think he will defend for this one as he does pull a few cars. An awful exit for Newitt, who has got a swarm of drivers sitting on his rear bumper now. Warming trying to take, apologies, that was a car trying to take advantage. He's got to be careful though from Brandon behind. He nips down the inside. Is there going to be contact here? And Foggy might be able to get past the pair of them if the track is wide enough. Backs out of it, does Foggy. And backing out of it as well is Brandon, who's got a lot of damage to that front end of his car. But fortunately for him, his flashlights are still working. And no changes there. The lead, by the way, is down to half a second. And we've just got the next lap. And that will be it, I believe, to finish this race. Yeah, only 1 minute to go. Oh, it could be close. Oh, and that's wide again for Jeffrey, who seems to like that line, or maybe not like that line, but he certainly got accustomed to it through the chicane. And that was almost very problematic. The gap back down to 0.3 of a second. The race leaders have crossed the line. So we've actually got 2 more laps to go. In fact, we will get 1 more, I believe, than we got in race 1. And that is just going to really help George McClay. He's got a couple of laps to get this move done. Meanwhile, Brandon, as he got past Car this time, I think he has, as Warmium gets past Newitt, and now Brandon will get past Newitt as well, who is an XVR driver, of course, and maybe lets him past his 3 teammates in the space of a couple of corners.
Absolute massive chaos everywhere you look, and now for Jeffrey it's going to be Warmingham and Brandon to look behind, and of course that is Foggy with Newitt. Launch there from McKnight. Sorry, that was a launch from Greg Carr as he goes a bit too deep.
Oh, Carr's lost so many places on this lap. I think he was up in 5th place at one point, but far from that now. It will get done as well. Oh dear, Sanderson's off. Sanderson is off.
I promise he's there. Oh, there he is. Together with Lavelli. We'll get a replay after the end of the race.
Brandon's got past Warmingham now. He's up into 4th, and Foggy will go with him as well. The gap is 0.2 of a second out in the lead. Wilson versus McClay. They're in the second half of the lap, and there's just 2 more corners to go for George McClay to get a race victory here. He is all over the back of Wilson. Can he hold on for his first ever win in the V8 Supercar Series? I believe he will do. Jamie Wilson exits the final corner, and he is going to take his inaugural race victory. Congrats to Team Chimera. Congrats to Wilson. And that was a great drive from the front. Brandon has managed to get past Jeffrey. So too has Warmingham and Foggy. Great drive from Jeffrey, but Brandon finishes in 3rd place. That was a heroic drive from him. This happened, and Jeffrey, who hated that chicane, he was sliding every single time into that corner. And finally, it cost him too much time, and he's lost 3 places. And this was how we had a bunch of cars all go off earlier on.
Absolutely, yes, that was quite the crash that unfortunately due to the elevation the cameras didn't really capture very well. But what a race this was. Beautiful race. Congratulations to Wilson for getting his first ever career W in the Euro V8 Championship. That's very well deserved for the Team Chimera driver. And in just a second, we will give you the race results here for the second of 3 races tonight. Here we go.
Yep, and it is Jamie Wilson who wins out for the first time in this championship. George McClay finishing in second place, and as Johnny Brandon. Nicole Foggy, so not many points lost for Foggy in comparison to McClay. Certainly going to be very positive in comparison to his championship rival so far today. Richard Warmingham, another 5th place for him. But could have been a little bit more for Warmingham, maybe a little bit frustrated he couldn't get a podium out of it. Jamie Jeffrey, great drive for him, 6th place. I mean, you should still be pleased with that one. Then it's Jamie McKnight, Tyler Newitz, who was also in the wars. Then O'Connor and Nikolai Bokatab. Once again, those two very quiet in 9th and 10th. Then it's Greg Carr, who was running up in the top 5 at one point. Clyde Whiting got up into 2nd place off the start, but fell down very quickly. Chris Jackson in 13th place. What could have been for him? Wayne Sanson was in 14th. Then it's Peter Bingham, Andrew Hoffman, Steve Lavelli, Anthony Woodward, Bill Switzer, Tony Klusterman, and Michael Frost rounding out the order. Top of the amateur drivers, by the way, in that race was Greg Carr in 11th place. So, Marco, the second reverse grid of the day.
Yes, and it's going to be 19 cars eligible for this. Last of the cars on the lead lap was Bill Switzer. And you know, despite being a very, very short and chaotic track, it's you know, both in race 1 and in race 2, very, very low retirements. I think 2 in race 1 and 2 in race 2, something like that. So, you know, kudos to the drivers. Let's roll it. Okay, so we have 18 plus 4, which makes 22.
So that will be a full reverse grid, which will mean all 19 get reversed once again, and that will mean that Bill Switzer will be on pole position. He will be starting alongside Anthony Woodward on the front row of the grid, Steve Lavelli and Andrew Hoffman on the second row of the grid. Once again, Jackson starting up in the top half of the field ahead of many of the other competitive drivers. Could Jackson finally get a race victory today? We'll be back then in about 10 minutes time for race 3 of the evening in the Racetech V8 Supercar Series. Welcome back to the Racetech V8 Supercar series live on Apex Racing TV. My name is Sam Fitzpatrick, and alongside me is Marco Barbier, and we are preparing for the final race, the third race of the evening, and we are in the proper evening, not just in real life, at least in Europe, but in sim as well. Marco, it is dark. I can't remember the last dark race we had in this championship, so it's another little element for the drivers to contend with.
Yes, I mean, apart from that beautiful, I'd say, dusk finish that we had at Bathurst last season or 2 seasons ago, I can't really remember a night race here because this is proper dark. Yes, if you go on board, you can see that there's still a bit of light in the sky, but I mean, this is for all intents and purposes a night race. So you can see of course, the headlights are on, and of course, there's that purple glowing light on the back of the head of the drivers that will help them focus on their dashboards without losing their adaptation to the night conditions. It's going to make for a absolutely enthralling race. As qualifying, sorry, the warm-up is over. Therefore, we will go through the starting grid in just a second.
Yep, and after another full reverse grid, pole position will be taken by Bill Switzer, who finished in 19th place in race 2. Anthony Woodward starts alongside him on the front row of the grid. Then Steve Lavelli, Andrew Hoffman, Peter Bingham, Wayne Sanderson, Chris Jackson, Clyde Whiting, Greg Carr, Nikolai Bogotayev, Lane O'Connor, Tyler Newitt, Jamie McKnight, Jamie Jeffrey, Richard Warmingham, Nicole Foggy, Johnny Brandon, George McClay, and Jamie Wilson, who of course took his first ever victory in this series in race 2. Michael Frost will hopefully take the start as well, but he'll be starting right from the back after retiring from race 2. We are just missing Peter Bingham at the moment, who's due to start in 5th place. However, as the seconds tick down, it seems like we will not see him. And no, Anthony Woodward is there. Apologies, just appears right there. So now we are preparing. The lights are coming on. Bill Switzer from the pole position. How long can he hold on to it? We are away at night at Lime Rock. Bursting through the middle is Steve Lavelli from 3rd on the grid. Can't quite get past Switzer at the first opportunity, but does get past Woodward. He's under pressure from Hoffman as well. Brandon getting past Warmingham a bit further down the order, 2 by 2 down the majority of the field. Tyler Newitt just nipping past Nikolai Bogotayev as well. Driver wide off the circuit, and he's going to rejoin an awkward place. That was Greg Carr, and he gets a big old shove from one of the XVR drivers. That could have been Lane O'Connor potentially, who gave him a shove round as Bill Switzer very slow over the curb as a car sliding off the circuit. That may have been Jamie Jeffrey perhaps, or maybe Wayne Sanderson.
Yep.
He was hitting the wall as well and skidding back onto the circuit over this very slippery grass. But as we get this first lap under the books, Bill Switzer coming into the pits. Maybe he jumped the start, I'm not quite sure, but it's going to be a stop-go penalty for him seemingly.
Absolutely, so drama all the way around. It's going to be a bit difficult to pick these guys up from a distance. The headlights glare really making these liveries all look like the same.
Oh no, round is McClay. It's been an awful day for George McClay, and that has just made it even worse. He was under pressure from Richard Warmingham, I believe. It wasn't even Warmingham, was it Wilson?
Yeah. Oh, and Wilson had a little bit of a moment.
Oh, wow,
got clobbered by Sanderson. So... And now Hoffman. Hoffman is hard to the wall, and Lane O'Connor is pointing in the wrong direction.
Well, if there is one benefit to this night time, you do see the sparks even more defined, which really does indicate a hefty impact. Out in the lead, Steve Lavelli, 1.8 seconds ahead of Anthony Woodward. Chris Jackson's got ahead into 3rd place. Not sure who dropped down from 3rd place on that last lap, but Jackson is up into 3rd place now. Chances of the race victory are ever increasing. Tyler Newitt is under pressure from Nick or Foggy. These are teammates, remember. Newitt did let these guys pass quite easily in race 2, so you don't be surprised if he slips out of the throttle down this pit straight. Foggy and Warmingham, poor race so far for, apologies, Brandon's ahead of all these guys as Foggy does now move past.
So Chris Jackson is having trouble with his hardware, and
Oh no.
therefore he's not 100% confident. He said that he was going to pull on the side if it became too much, and I'm not seeing Tony in the race, of course. So probably either his hardware or his internet connection got the best of him, and he couldn't race here in the third and final race of the night, as we are 3 minutes and 25 seconds in as we speak, and still fantastic fight here at the front of the field as Greg Carr has gone deep into the chicane. Some sparks flying from Peter Bingham, who is blinking a bit. Another lap goes in the books, and Steve Lavelli is still your race leader. It's very, very... Jackson gone past Woodward, sorry.
Yeah, up into 2nd place, and having to get past straight away as well is McKnight.
Oh, big
there's
crash.
a go off the circuit. Warmingham is off. He was behind.
Engine, that's the engine.
Oh wow, for Whiting.
Yeah.
Oh, Whiting, he was running up in 5th place. Caught by Brandon. Oh, and he's just run wide, hasn't he? And then hit Warmingham as well.
I think that's the engine. Yes, that's
I think so.
Yeah, that's that.
Surprised that caused quite as much damage as it did to the engine. It's not a huge impact compared to some of the others that we see. Warmingham's had to come into the pit, so he's got steering damage, I assume, from that. So shame for those two guys who have had decent days up to this point, particularly Warmingham with a couple of top 5s, I believe, in races 1 and 2. McClay gets past Hoffman. Hoffman running in the top 10. Sure he will be enjoying this race at the moment. Very much avoided the majority of the incidents. Brandon is trying to get past Woodward, but Foggy is rapidly closing on these guys and will have a much better run down the pit straight. Here comes Foggy. I think he might be past the pair of us here. Foggy gets out of it though. Didn't want to make it 3 wide with Brandon. And in fact, actually, very late on the brakes is Woodward, offering a challenge to Foggy, who just slips his car down the inside easy enough in the end.
As the pit straight was flooded in the smoke of Clyde Whiting's broken engine, who he was able to get back to the pits as this fight continues. Oh, hard contact, and Woodward goes double hit, one to the left, one to the right. Now he's sitting just outside of the racing line and has to tow back to the pits. That was a massive hit for Anthony Woodward.
I thought Foggy had it done a lot earlier on, but Woodward just kept on fighting and then just turned a bit too far to the right there, Woodward. I think that was his fault. And should have stayed closer to the white line. And Foggy was very fortunate, the championship leader, of course, to not get more heavily hit in that. Meanwhile, George McClay moving past Jamie Wilson. Well, he'll be saying if he had one more lap in race 2, then he would have been able to do that exact move, the top 2 in race 2. And McClay does finally get past Wilson right there into turn 1. Now 3 seconds to catch up to Tyler Newitt. Should have achieved that one, but annoying day for George McClay, undoubtedly. Steve Lavelli has a 1.6 second lead out in front. Chris Jackson on that last lap was 0.2 of a second faster. Jamie McKnight 0.4 of a second faster than Jackson even. The top 4 quite separated with Brandon rounding out. So who's in the running for the race win, you think, right now, Marco? We've got 8 minutes to go. who would you say has got a chance still?
Of course, well, goes without saying Steve Lavelli, but if I had to pick one of the three guys following him, I'd say Chris Jackson, provided his computer can hold on.
I think so. Jackson, who's won a few races in this championship in the past. I believe he won on the Super Sprint race 1 at Barber earlier on in the season, actually. I think that was his last race victory. Also, a brilliant record at Phillip Island, scoring 2 wins there as well. I think he's got about 5 victories overall. Greg Cart down the inside. Nicely done on Jamie Jeffrey right there.
Very nice, very brave. Nice cooperation from Jeffrey, who knows. I mean, he is having a great round. Is Jamie. Too bad for what happened at the very end of race 2, but he's using his head. That's sure. And this is the way you get the big points for the championship. Of course, it's all a part of a learning experience. Especially since I think he jumped in not from the start of the season, but those things you get in your pocket and you learn them. Oh!
Oh!
Who was that?
Switzer.
Lap car, yeah. Sorry if I scared you, but I was not expecting that. I have to be honest.
I'm not sure if Warmingham was expecting it, to be honest.
Well, that's
Here we
already
are.
too late, unfortunately. Yeah, that's too late. Well,
Boggy. What's happened? Oh, sorry, no, it's Newitt under pressure from McLean. Newitt's just had a poor lap. 53.2. And Boggy should get past quite quick here. Probably just not Boggy. McClay should get past quite quick, and he sure does. Now, Wilson will be the next on the XBR driver. So McClay back up into 6th place, only losing 5 points at the moment to Nico Foggy in this race, which isn't too bad for him. However, he lost so many points in race 1 where Foggy won, and McClay, I believe, was down in 14th place, and McClay only made up 1 or 2 positions on McClay in race 2. Brandon at the moment would be the highest point scorer of the day, I believe, despite not winning a race.
consistency, as per usual, is key. So, Wilson get past Newitt. And up.
Foggy is quite close to Brandon, though.
Yes, we were just watching them. I'm disappointed at you, Sam. If this is the beginning, I cannot imagine what will you do tomorrow for 7 hours. I know it's night, so you know,
I don't like to think about it, to be honest. I've got Aussie Mixon and Picks and ARL GT tomorrow as well, which is a daunting prospect. A daunting prospect for sure. Certainly do tune in for that on Apex Racing 2, but do not expect high quality commentary.
you can expect high quality racing, that's for sure. 4
Yes.
classes.
By the way, Marco, are you Spanish?
No, lamentablemente soy italiano.
It's just Majestic White. Announcer is Spanish.
Yeah, I've read that.
Or Spanish, as he has spelt it. Some of my friends thought that you were Russian. As Jackson, apology, has just got past Steve Lavelli. That is a big move, and Chris Jackson might well be on course for a race victory now with 4 minutes to go.
That gap came down very quickly. I just caught the back end of the pass.
Oh yeah, really bad lap 54 that last time out for Lavelli.
I can't see any mistake from Steve, but maybe a mistake at the chicane, I can imagine, given where the pass has taken place. Thankfully, we were able to switch just in time the cameras to catch that. And so Chris Jackson is your new race leader. At the same time, Foggy, McKnight, and Brandon in the middle. And here we go, mistake from McKnight. Here comes Johnny, and he will probably go around the outside, but great defending from Jamie McKnight there, better line. if that is something, and they will probably. Oh, oh no, they touch.
Oh! Well, we're seeing them come together already this season. That was remarkably close. Foggy, being the nice bloke that he is, lets Brandon go. He wants to gain the position in that fashion, although I'm sure Foggy didn't do a whole lot wrong there. It's just the two of them with such contrasting speeds around that final corner. And McKnight, see what he does to people? He absolutely drives him crazy, and he wants that podium still. Wouldn't bet against him holding on to it, despite that he's got the speed. The two fastest drivers in the league sitting right behind him. Spinning up the tyres, Foggy. They'll be staying nice and cool in these conditions.
Oh,
Slips a wheel onto
oh.
the grass and also hits a little bit of an escape road as well, I think. Bopping the car along. Very fortunate to keep it out of the barrier. Brandon quite close on McKnight. But McKnight just very much telling him, well, I've got the inside covered, mate. So you are not going past. They are 4.5 seconds now behind Laveille, lapping painfully slow. I say lapping painfully, so they are actually outlapping the front runners, but they are still a long way back at the moment. Or Jackson's off the circuit, or is it Laveille off the circuit? I'm not sure.
It's Lavelli.
It was Laveille. But fortunately, he did have 4 seconds, like I was saying before. I saw a big lockup and then an off track for Laveille. And this is... Oh dear.
No, the off track was, I think, a lapped car that maybe distracted Steve because I thought he jumped the chicane, but in reality he didn't. As we go back here and see that Brandon and McKnight are still going at it. Of course, no way that they can get to Lavelli. Also, because I think we are in the final lap.
Penultimate lap.
Penultimate lap, perfect. So, well, maybe they can get to him, but if Steve keeps it clean, no way that happens. Once again, look at McKnight defending the inside. Oh, he's a bit sideways and he will jump the chicane.
You don't lose that much time doing that. Where is he in comparison? Dare I say, oh geez, dropping out now, and that's distracted Brandon. He has to get on the brakes. And is he still serving the slowdown? Is McKnight. Brandon won't be happy about that one, although to be fair to McKnight, he didn't have control about glitching out there, and I think he's held onto the position because the slowdown you get in that corner really isn't enough. And with 1 lap to go, McKnight stays in 3rd place. It'll be absolutely furious for these two guys. McClay's still 5 seconds behind them, but dipping into the 53s on that last tour round. Chris Jackson, though, is approaching the final couple of corners right now.
Oh dear.
And still dropping out is McKnight, but that's helping him along. It's putting off Brandon, and it looks like he will get a podium. But Chris Jackson out in the lead. He took a Super Sprints race already this season, and he's going to take another one here at Lime Rock Park. Chris Jackson wins race 3 in the darkness. Lavelli in 2nd, great result for him. McKnight holds on to 3rd, and Brandon holds off Foggy. What a great battle between those 3 drivers. McClay recovers to 6th in the end.
Well, McKnight, Jackson didn't want to race because of hardware issues. Well, glad that he did, because that was a great performance. I think that Brandon and Foggy went side by side in the final corner. Mistake from Johnny, you see? He has to move to the inside, so that has helped him because it forced Foggy to go wide. And so he kept it in 4th position, but a big scare there at the end for Johnny Brandon, as these two guys came to... Oh! That's a way to celebrate, I think. That was a very popular result, popular win by Chris Jackson. As I think we are giving everyone a seizure with this camera shot, so
We really are. If you've got epilepsy, then apologies.
This is better. We see the very ominous looking gnome. I mean, this is nightmare stuff if you're scared of gnomes. But let's get through these results for race 3. Man, this meeting has really gone by in an instant, despite also, having a little bit of an hiccup between race 1 and race 2.
Yeah, it absolutely has. Only 45 minutes of racing, but yeah, these super sprint rounds do usually last a little bit longer. But no, it's been a terrific day of racing. Chris Jackson ends it on top, wins the car number 11 for Never Quit Racing. Steve Lavelli, a great podium for him. That does mean Lavelli, I'm pretty sure it's confirmed already, but he won't be a club driver next season because that is a top 4 finish. So well done to Lavelli for becoming a pro driver for next season and helped him in his bid to win the club championship this season. Jamie McKnight finishes in 3rd place. Probably what he deserves from all his efforts. Johnny Brandon won't be particularly pleased with that one in 4th. Great day for Nicole Foggy in the championship. Outscores 6th place man George McClay significantly, I believe, on overall points. Foggy will be ahead, but still could change easily with, I believe, 3 more rounds of the championship to go. Jamie Wilson, nice day for him in 7th after his race 2 win. Tyler Newitt was in 8th. There's Jamie Jeffrey in 9th. And Richard Warringham rounding out the top 10. There's Wayne Sanson, Greg Carr, Peter Bingham, Michael Frost, Clyde Whiting, Nikolai Bogotayev, Bill Switzer, Anthony Woodward, Andrew Hoffman, and Lane O'Connor. So we are going to have a chat with Jamie McKnight first, who is joined us in the commentary box. Congratulations, Jamie. Start off with that race 3. That was a gutsy drive against Johnny.
You've got to be on your A game. Good morning in Australia, anyway, boys. How are you? Yeah, you've got to be on your A game when you've got Nicole Foggy and Johnny Brandon right behind you. And I knew that my connection was a bit sketchy. I was sort of blinking in and out myself. Obviously being over here in Australia, and my Q meter was red, so I was a bit concerned I was going to drop out. But Johnny's a pro, and he gave me a fair bit of space there in the last couple of laps, and I just couldn't believe I got away with that slowdown when I couldn't make the chicane. I took the shortcut and was able to clear the penalty before they caught up to me again. So it was just an awesome battle. I mean, if that race was for 10th, I wouldn't care. That's what I come here for, those sort of battles.
Absolutely. It seemed like a fun day in the end. I mean, you had a pretty good race 1, 4th place, and then that race 2. Just a huge pack of drivers. How was the racecraft, particularly in that race 2 and overall today?
Well, I'll tell you what, obviously Lime Rock's are very, very small. Like Oran Park, it's very tight, very few places to do a clean pass. And I've got to say, on the whole, I think the driving was pretty good. There was obviously a couple of little incidents, but you can't help that when you've got me in Australia and Johnny in Europe, you know what I mean, and Tony in Canada. You're going to get that. But I thought the driving was really good for the configuration of track, and I got a 4-7 to the third, and I'm absolutely stoked with that, considering I pretty much got the short end of the stick on the reverse grid. So, you know, I was up at least 10 places this race, so I'll take it. And good. Hello, Marco. How are you, mate?
Well, Jamie, congratulations on that great result. I was really happy to see you up there and fight with these drivers. I mean, I know what you can do, and that was a big pleasure to see you fight for the positions where you deserve to be.
Thank you, buddy. Yeah, it was really, like I said, when I get a battle like that happening, I don't care if it's 10th, 2nd or 15th. That's what I reckon iRacing should be about. You know, Johnny and Nicole could have easily sent it on me and put me out of the race, and nobody would have blinked. But they were really fair, and I loved it. And it's great to be up the front.
Next up is Silverstone, a circuit that you have raced around in AOSC already this season. You reckon that's going to help you out? A little bit of experience and also a nice setup, I imagine, as well for that place?
Look, if you've got a spare £5, I'd put it on me at Silverstone. It's one of my favourite tracks, and it's one of my best tracks. I tend to be at my best at the fast-flowing circuits like Silverstone and Road America, Bathurst. So, but Silverstone particularly is probably my favourite track. So, I'm very confident there. I've got a real good setup already, and I'll tune that with the NQR boys in the next week or so, and we'll come out firing on all guns, I can tell you.
Awesome. Well, looking forward to that one, Jamie. Before we say goodbye, is there anyone you'd like to thank?
Yeah, I'd like to thank obviously Apex for the broadcast. You guys always do a great job, no matter what time of the day it is around the world, and especially to my surrogate team, Tony Klusterman and NQR Blue and Red boys. Love working with them, and yeah, thanks to Simability and NQR for having me during this series. Really appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having a chat with us, Jamie, and best of luck in a fortnight's time.
Thank you, my friend. I'll see you then.
Awesome. See you then. So next up, Mark. Oh, this is a tricky decision. You can have a chat with race 1 winner or the overall highest point scorer from today. So who are you going to go for?
I'll go with the Ford driver, of course. I'll go with
Good choice. Good choice.
I'll go with Johnny Brandon. Hello, Johnny. Welcome to the booth.
Evening, Marco.
So, according to Sam, you are the highest point scorer of this meeting, and I have to say it was a pretty exciting meeting for you all around, especially this third race. Walk us through your evening of racing, please.
It was just great fun. Race 1 was going well. Did I get pole? I think I got pole. And Foggy was behind me, and he was quicker, so he got a little run. So I didn't fight it because the points are more important for him in the championship, especially after George had some issues. We just drove around in race 1 basically. Race 2 was really exciting. I had 3 really great races. So much happened, I can't really remember. It's all a bit of a blur, Marker.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking, during the broadcast, and as soon as race 3 was over, that, all things considered, there was great racing, a couple of crashes, but in all 3 races, a very little number of retirements. I think 2 or 3 maximum per race, and really a far cry from some of the, more recent super sprint rounds. This was fantastically good racing, and you were at the forefront of it as per usual.
Well, very nice of you to say. It felt great to me, and if that's the case, then well done to everybody else, because that's no mean feat at Lime Rock in these cars. It's a handful, and it's a very tight, twisty, small track. So I was quite surprised. I thought it was going to be a bit of a procession, but I'm still grinning from here. Just that's what I love about sim racing. I've just had 3 great races. I mean, race 2 and race 3 just epic. That's why I do this. It was just brilliant fun, and as I said before, that's down to everybody. It was great.
Big change of scenario in a couple of weeks because we'll be running at Silverstone. How are you feeling about that?
Is it Silverstone next race? What is it? Do you know? Is it an endurance or normal racing
I
feature?
think it's a double header.
I believe. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, it'd be cool. I think there was officials at Silverstone not long ago. But as you know, we use the default setup everywhere, so it'll be fine. We'll have a setup for it on the same default setup, and I'm sure it'll be good.
Well, Johnny, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you in the booth as per usual. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank?
Yeah, everybody at XVR, everybody that runs the league. They do a great job as always, Clyde and the boys. And we've got a new partner on board, Power Max Racing. I'm not sure if it was on the cards tonight. I think there might have been an issue with the paint back, but thanks to them for getting on board with us. And yeah, thanks to everybody involved with the team, and you guys, of course, for what is, I'm sure, a great broadcast. And I can't wait to go and watch it.
Thanks a lot, man. It's been a pleasure. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll catch you very, very soon, Johnny.
Thanks very much, guys. You take care.
Nicole
That
Foggy
was,
disappeared.
He has disappeared.
Oh,
Not that's not usually the shyest person that we have come across. We will hold on for a second, obviously, see where on earth he's gone. And of course, if you are a driver in this series, maybe not this week, but next week, enter our Discord. We'd like to have a chat with you wherever you finished. You might have to remind us where you finished, But once we got past that wall, then we can ask you a few questions. We find a little bit more about the series. It's always helpful. So please do have a chat with us next week, certainly, if we have time for a few extra interviews. Next up, Marco, very different circuit. Silverstone. It is the proper GP layout. Gonna be a tricky circuit, I think, with these cars. They can understeer a little. It's going to be one of those situations where the car is going to be understeer and oversteer simultaneously, I think, because they got really long corners. It's not the most kind of cambered circuit either, so the car's really going to be sliding about. I think that's going to be one of the trickiest places we're going to visit all season.
And who knows, maybe someone will try a no-stopper like Taliancic a few years ago.
Yep.
Always an interesting. Was that the? I think that was still the old Silverstone, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Ooh. I think so. Yeah.
Well, I mean, this it's unbelievably dark. So I'm going to pop up the waiting screen for Apex Racing TV because it's very sad to look at a black screen whilst we talk on top of it. But also, let me remind you that we have a lot of stuff coming up, and it's going to be a packed Sunday, but still a lot to do on Saturday because at 22 GMT, so in a couple of hours, iRacing Formula 3.5 Championship, and finally we are ready to unveil the full new graphics for the championship have been published today by Pascal. They're going to look fantastic, and if you use SDK Gaming, you can simply, very quickly and easily import them into your project file. They look absolutely gorgeous, in my opinion. And new graphics styles are coming soon for SDK Gaming, so don't want to miss that. Sunday, you will hear a lot from Sam. Aussie Mixed and Fixed, 10:45 GMT from Barcelona. Then at 12 GMT, we are going to have the Abruzzi Sim Racers World Endurance Series, round 5 out of 6. It will be live from Silverstone Grand Prix. Wow, of course. And then at 4 GMT, 16 GMT, the Still at Home Indy Grand Prix live on Apex Racing TV. That is a series that changes car and track every time. They had the MX-5s for the first round, the DW12 for the second round. Who knows what they're going to bring out for this round here. And then at 18:15 GMT, Team Art Racing League with Hub Financial. That will be from Ulton Park, final race of the season. There is a scholarship available for the title winner of that series. That will be decided tomorrow with Alex Simpson and Dane Bird. You don't want to miss that. And then again with Sam Fitzpatrick at 7:10 GMT, the Apex Racing League GT Championship Season 1 Round 7 from Spa-Francorchamps. We round up your Monday with the World GT from Suzuka, around 9:07 GMT, and then at 23:45 GMT, Rick Mutek GT Challenge from Road Atlanta. I think I will be there doing that. So, yeah, it's going to be a busy weekend, busy Monday, but of course the action doesn't stop, continues all the way through the week. Always new stuff coming up on Apex Racing TV. Always something to look forward to. Thanks a lot to everyone who has followed us in the chat and of course watching the stream. Remember to follow our social media, otherwise our social media manager Dane Bird will be angry with me, so do that. You can find us on all the major social networks, and of course don't forget to like, share, if you want, share, subscribe, and ring that bell so you can keep up with all the streams that we do. And as you know, I mean, we had for the first time ever 3 streams going on at the same time on Thursday, and of course it's always worth keeping an eye on our channels so you can enjoy some sports even in this tough period. So thanks everyone, and I will leave the ball to Sam to close this broadcast. Also because I'm very, very hungry. I mean,
Well, from this, I can almost smell it from here. Your your kitchen. So hopefully you enjoy the meal that you're about to indulge yourself in, Marco. So have fun there, and have fun if you are at home. Hopefully you've enjoyed this broadcast tonight, Michael was saying.
Well,
Just keep an
I
eye out.
hope you are at home. You know.
You should be. If you're not at home, what you're playing at, honestly. Protect others and all of that. I'm sure you are at home though, and hopefully you do have a good couple of weeks before we are back, of course, for the third final round of the championship, I believe, at Silverstone in the V8 Supercar Series. Do not miss it. We'll see you back for that. And of course, do check out Apex Racing TV for the next week as well. But for now, from me and from Marco, we are going to say goodbye, and we'll see you next time.